Hello, everybody. This is the Mixer with Stephen Dumeng on 1495 Sports. We've made it to the double digits, baby. I'm excited for this Saturday because here in my lovely home state of New York, we have UFC 295 at Madison Square Garden, and it's going to be insane. We're going to get some new champions, some interim champions, some lineal champions. We have the light heavyweight title picture that's going to be finally under some resolution because I say that because Hill had also vacated the title, fresh off a vacant vacation of a title. In addition to vacating the title himself, one of the fighters fighting in that main event, Jerry Prochazka, has also vacated the title, and now he'll be fighting the former UFC middleweight champion Alex Pereira at light heavyweight to finally give us some closure, so to speak, in this division, because light heavyweight has been all over the place. It'll be nice to finally have something of a consistent champion, God willingly, here. So between these two gentlemen, we have Alex coming off his win, a split decision over Jan Blachowicz, another former champion, and Jiri, who is coming off a long layoff. His last win, we last saw him in action, a win over Glover Teixeira, someone you've seen interviewed on this very program. Shout out to Glover Teixeira. And that was well over a year ago at this point, ladies and gentlemen. That was sometime in, I believe, July 2022. So Jiri, who used to be very active, unfortunately has not been as active. I think he's had at least one fight within the last 4 years. He has only one fight in each year. So this is going to be his fight for 2023. A big one nonetheless. And he's undefeated in his last 3 fights. So he's on a winning streak at the moment. Like I said, Alex Pereira coming off a somewhat controversial split decision win over the former champion himself and Jan Blachowicz. But these guys are not coming around to play. They are going to go for blood. They're going to go for the finish. Both these guys have been on highlight reels, or they have a very a ridiculous portfolio when it comes to their resumes. And these guys have been seen delivering devastating knockouts. They've also been on the flip side of devastating knockout losses. So that said, I think we're going to get a finish here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go with Jiri on this one. It's a very, very tough fight to call. Honestly, I talked to a number of my friends on it, and it's a coin toss rather. And despite the inactivity for over a year, I think Jiri is going to have the advantage of having had more MMA experience. He is, in my opinion, a more well-rounded fighter. I think if Jiri doesn't keep the fight standing, his best keys to victory will be by submission. I think he'll be able to have the better ground game, even though Alex, I believe, is the larger individual. I think he can drag him to the ground, nullify his striking by bringing the fight to where it, in my opinion, would be for his best key to victory. And I think we'll see Jiri by submission round. I think it's going to be a very back and forth, crazy first round. I think these guys are going to swing for the fences, and then we'll see Jiri start to wear him down, get the takedown, secure the submission. I'm thinking sometime early in the third round. Going by Jiri Prochazka by submission, round 3. You guys heard it here, 1495 here in the Mixer. Also, in action, we will have the heavyweights, the big guys. They're going to be back to crown an interim champion because, unfortunately, what we're supposed to see between Stipe Miocic and Jon Jones will not be happening. Heartbreakingly, Jon Jones suffered an injury that has taken him out of commission. He will no longer be competing against Stipe. Stipe is also himself not competing. And now we have an interim championship to be decided heavyweight between Tom Aspinall and Sergey Pavlovich. And Sergey is coming off a 6-fight win streak, all by finishes, I might add. Something that he's actually, I believe, going to be tying a record with UFC Hall of Famer Chuck Liddell for the most finishes in a row, at least in the UFC. So I think he'd be tying it for 7 in a row if he's able to do it. Tom Aspinall, who is no slouch by any means. This guy's got great grappling, especially in a division, heavyweight division, where grappling is not very notable. He does have an advantage here if he can get Sergey to the ground. However, Sergey's just a powerhouse. I think Aspinall is going to have a tough time trying to get him down. Sergey is the bigger guy, and I think he'll be able to neutralize Tom's ground game, keep the fight standing, and end up getting the TKO. I think he'll be able to get the TKO in the second round, probably not the first, but it's going to be a back-and-forth fight in that first round of employing strategies. I don't see Tom trying to strike with him. I think he'll be, like I said, going for the ground game, trying to secure the takedown, trying to work the jiu-jitsu. However, I think Sergey will be able to manhandle him, outwork him, and he'll be able to survive that round and be able to take Tom out in the second round. So we have big fights, 2 title fights there at the heaviest divisions in the UFC, light heavyweight and heavyweight respectively. We have women in action. We have Jessica Andrade versus Mackenzie Dern. Andrade has faced a very bad skid. She's on a 3-fight excuse me, I probably should bring some water next time. A 3-fight skid, unfortunately, coming into this fight. Although she's very known for being very violent and scoring some very destructive finishes, fortunately, she's been on the wrong side of the streak these days against Mackenzie Dern, who's coming off a win over Angela Hill. She has her 8 wins in the UFC, and I don't see the momentum stopping for Mackenzie Dern. I think she's going to score a unanimous decision. Excuse me. A unanimous decision over Jessica Andrade, who I think will be game, but unfortunately I think her taking this fight, riding the 3 fights loss, I think it's going to be a very tough fight for her to come back to and secure a win here. I commend her for fighting the top fighters and for trying to elevate herself, but unfortunately I don't think she'll have any answers from Mackenzie. So we're going with Dern by unanimous decision. In the lightweight division, we're going to have Matt Frevola against Benoit Saint-Denis. And Frevola is riding a 3-fight win streak, all by finish. In addition, not to be outdone, Benoit Saint-Denis himself running off 4 wins in a row, all by finishes. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, we will have a finish here. These guys clearly not trying to waste any time getting paid by the minutes here. I think, however, Saint Denis will be able to crack Frevola. I believe in the first round. Again, I expect a very hectic pace from these lightweights. I think these guys are going to be throwing hard. It's MSG. It's New York City. I think everyone's trying their best and their hardest to really stand out, especially when it comes to the big lights, the bright lights, big fights. New York City, it just presents that feel, larger than life. And I think everyone's really going to try and go for those highlight reel finishes. And I see it here. I think Benoit Saint-Denis, TKO in the first round. And to wrap up the main card, we'll have featherweights in action. Diego Lopez will be returning fresh off an armbar victory in about a minute and change against Pat Sabatini, who's 5-1 in UFC action, riding a couple of win streaks himself. And we will see these gentlemen throw hands in featherweight. And I think Sabatini will be able to secure a decision here in action. And Diego is a very tough fighter. I mean, he's only gone to decision. He's only won two decisions in his career. He's secured finishes in all his other fights. However, I'm going to go with Sabatini being the more experienced in the UFC and having that experience prove to be the difference in what we'll see in action. So I'm going to go with Sabatini there by decision. So that is UFC 295 at MSG, New York City. I will be watching live. I know you guys will be too. But in addition, we have a Bellator 301, also a very stacked card, not to be outdone. They'll be in action the following Saturday. Hey, we got to get a new one of these. The following Saturday at Bellator 301, we're going to see some more top-class MMA action. We'll see in the welterweight division. It'll be the undefeated 27-0 and 7-0 in Bellator MMA. Yaroslav Amosov we're working on those pronunciations, ladies and gentlemen, versus Jason Jackson, and coming off a 6-fight win streak himself, including wins over former champions like Douglas Lima and Benson Henderson, and we will see that welterweight title fight. I'm going with Amasov by decision. Jackson's a tough fighter, like I said, riding a current win streak of 6, has been in there with some very durable, very tough fighters. No matter what their ages may be, arguably, obviously Lima and Henderson are older these days, but still to be able to tangle with those guys and be able to secure decisions over them, I think still it does speak volumes to the testament of Jason Jackson's talent. So that said, I'm going Amasov by decision. The guy has looked mean out there. He's 27-0, undefeated. I think we're going to hit 28-0. In addition, we'll have Sergio Pettis, the younger brother of Anthony Pettis, Showtime, and he'll be facing off Apache Mix, a guy who also just chooses violence. One of the more violent fighters in recent memory, Apache Mix, coming off a destructive knockout of Stotts in 40 seconds. Insane stuff to stop a fighter of that caliber in just 40 seconds. And this will be contested at 135. And Pettis will be unifying the title with Apache here. And Pettis hasn't lost since leaving the UFC. He left the UFC on a win, and he's been in action numerous times after that, securing that insane spinning back fist knockout over Horiguchi, who's another talented fighter in his own right. He's coming off a big decision win over another guy I consider is a very underrated fighter and a legend in his own right, the other Pitbull, Patricio Ferreira, and he won by unanimous decision. So Sergio's been fighting some very top caliber fighters. I just feel that Patchy's been on another wavelength, man. He's been violent. He's been destructive. Like I said, he's seen him. He's just tearing it up. And I think Pettis is going to have a long night ahead of him. I'm going with Mix by TKO in the 3rd round. I think it's going to be too overwhelming for Sergio. Even though, like I said, we've seen Sergio weather the storm. He's a very talented fighter. He's got a lot of durability, but I think Patchy wants this one really, really badly, and I think we're going to see him as the unified champion at 135. In addition, we have a rematch. Danny Sabatello will be taking on Rafion Stotts. I hope I got that one correct. And Stotts coming off like I said, huge knockout loss, unfortunately. Sabatello also coming off a loss himself. So these guys desperately looking for a win. They both fought before. Stotts took the decision by a split decision before. And somewhat, some people thought was controversial. But in any case, Sabatello will be back here. I think he'll be able to secure decision. Last time when I saw the fight, it was predominantly a fight that took place on the ground. There's it was very grappling heavy, and I think he'll be able to get a unanimous decision this time around. In addition, we have AJ McKee versus Sydney Outlaw. AJ is a 20-1 in MMA action, and he's a complete stud, a guy I would love to see in the UFC. He's facing off with Sydney Outlaw, who is unfortunately someone that I've seen on some receiving end, some destructive knockout losses. But in any case, I'm going with McKee on this one by decision, and I think we'll one day see him in the UFC in the very near future. He's 28 years old. Like I said, outstanding record. He's been in there with a who's who of people, and I think he'd be an excellent addition to the UFC. So hopefully we'll see him very soon. And opening up their main card will be the other Pitbull, the older brother of Patricio, will be Patricky Ferreira, and he'll be competing in lightweight action against Alexander Shebeli, who hasn't lost in nearly 8 years. He has 8 wins in a row. The guy's looked like a complete beast. I'm going with Shebeli by decision here. Unfortunately, Ferreira is already pushing 37, and Shebeli has just looked just too much. I think it's going to be too much for Pitbull to handle, and I think he'll be on the wrong side of decision loss here. So those will be the two events, ladies and gentlemen. Those are my predictions. I've been doing pretty well. I have a winning record, I might add, when it comes to our predictions. So far so good with our return. I want to always give a big shout out to everyone at 1495 Sports. Please check them out. Always subscribe, hit the like button. It keeps us in business. It keeps you guys entertained. So please check us out. My name is Steven Dumeng. Check me out on all social media platforms at Referee Steven Dumeng, or Ref Steven Dumeng to be precise. I want to give a big shout out to Stacy. Thank you for always putting this together. And honestly, we appreciate you all for watching. Again, 1495, check them out. UFC 295 this Saturday, Bellator 301 next Saturday. MMA fans, let's watch. Let's love it. We're going to enjoy it. We'll see you there. See you at the next one, guys. Thank you.